having the kind of ubiquitous development languages that you can just leverage, it's a huge benefit.
This is Velocitize Talks, and I'm Lauren Cox. Welcome. Today we have Adam Davey, Director of Technology at Candyspace. Welcome. How are you, Adam?
Great. Thanks for having me, Lauren.
Thank you. So, Adam, why don't you tell us about what makes Candyspace different? Why do customers love you?
Yeah, sure. So Candyspace, we're a digital agency based in Holborn, and we work with a range of clients across a range of different sectors with a load of complex business needs. But really, ultimately, all of this comes back to us being able to work in what we call the sweet spot, which is that center within the needs of the business and the needs of the customer. We innovate right in that space there. So, I work closely with my counterpart on the creative side, and what we seek to do is deliver great digital experiences within our products. So that can be ITV's app or a portal for Rolls-Royce or the Mazda website. Whatever that is, we're always focused on great customer experience. And we work fast, and we work with quality, and we've got a really great team. We're a people company. And that's what excites me. That's what gets me out of bed every morning. It's a great place to work.
So when you talk about UX, what is your thought process in really creating something authentic for the end user? Like, how do you go about that? Can you explain that process to me?
I mean, the team always talk to users, right? Customers. Ultimately, that's what it's all about. It's about sitting down and understanding what their needs are, what the pain points are. We do a lot of things like using user Zoom to understand how people actually interact with products, seeing them being used in the real world. And then using analytics to understand then once they've gone live, to really understand how they're being used in the wild. So it's a combination of, I guess, being close to the user. I mean, the user is king, right? And being, understanding their needs and delivering, great benefits for that user. So, yeah, I mean, our UX team are really, really focused on just that. But, yeah, we often see businesses who try and bring products to market with just their mindset and ethos and goals. Yeah. And it's very important that we're working between those two camps and delivering for both business and user.
We've seen trends in the market to move to headless architecture. And so how would you go about exploring that with a business?
I think, adopting any new technology is about getting buy-in from all parts of the business, right? That's not just about the devs, that's about the people that are going to be using the CMS and the marketing team and the finance team even, just making sure that there's general consensus and buy-in within the business. From a development perspective, what we like to do is, of course, look at the documentation and make sure we understand how the APIs work. A lot of the work we do involves quite widely used front-end frameworks. Headless is great for that, of course, because we can leverage all of our nice, well-known, ubiquitous front-end frameworks and deliver a great experience. But let's not forget, at the center of this is content management and, getting going. I think, yes, looking at documentation and the APIs, but actually making a demo site and giving marketeers something to play with. Ultimately, I think that's really key, rather than just a content experience that doesn't work for people. Like, I can't tell you the amount of times we speak to clients, and it's that editing experience that is the biggest bugbear and pain point that they have. Yeah,
I think you said earlier, content is king, right? And so you have what you're saying is like, it's good for some customers that we look at the front end flexibility or freedom, and then but the back end content area and development is super important for just usability. Absolutely. I'm assuming internally within the client.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's about getting your hands dirty and getting buy-in and getting people to actually feel that this is a tool they need and use and want to have every day within their kind of business and workflows.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that we've seen, headless architecture is also known for how speedful it is, how speedy it is. Would you say that speed is the number one reason that people might move to a headless architecture, or do you see some other reasons to move?
Yeah, I mean, apart from speed, which is obviously a massive benefit, what that allows to do, headless, really allows us to focus on delivering great customer experience, right? We can leverage the frameworks that we have in-house that, are used widely, be that React or whatever that might be. But I think the other important thing to say is Headless can be, the important thing about Headless CMS is it can be quite tactically deployed into your overall stack, right? We're seeing a lot of businesses at the moment who have bought, who have vendor lock-in is a real thing, who have bought systems, I would say suites, that provide a whole smorgasbord of capabilities, and they're using only 5% of those capabilities, right? So I think it's super important that businesses can be quite nimble now and deploy something within their stack that works for them. And the CMS can be just that. Atlas can be just that. Yeah. So being able to leverage your internal development resources, focus on customer experience, and really, it's not a word that we hear very often with Atlas, but it's a word, an industry word, and that is part of a composable stack. And actually, Atlas can be readily deployed in that way.
Yeah. So we see sometimes that clients and customers have legacy systems. Do you think the headless architecture helps them kind of innovate faster?
Yeah, it can do, absolutely. I mean, we see a lot of businesses come to us, and they often want to just tactically remove a part or replace a part of their legacy system and innovate quickly and move and not be burdened by old systems. I would say you see a lot of, it's called shadow IT, where people come along and want to get things done under the radar. And that's because the solutions they have in-house just aren't working for them. Yeah. So that's where I think this can really help. So quite tactically, we can bring a CMS, and it's strategic as well, of course, but bringing a CMS in that really serves, them for now and in the future with its kind of scalability, security, all of those things, and providing a great editing experience as well. So it keeps the developers happy, and it keeps all the kind of content editors happy at the same time, which is really important.
Yeah. So do you, when you have client discussions, do you focus on more of the outcomes versus the technology? Like, you're the director of tech, so I love to.
Yeah. We do. I mean, I would say there's definitely an increasing sophistication amongst clients. I mean, we were speaking to a client last week that came to us and said they wanted the headless CMS straight away. Yeah. And it's all, part of the conversation is why. And they had answers, so I would say there's definitely an increasing sophistication amongst clients. I mean, it depends who you talk to in the business, of course. Yeah. But I would say that things are changing. Like 2 years ago, we weren't ever asked that question. Yeah, okay. And we never had clients come to us with that kind of proposition or idea. Yeah. So yeah, I think things are changing, and it's only going in that direction. If you look at the businesses in the last year or two that have pivoted to headless. Yes. We're looking at Nike, Debenhams, United Airlines, Target. Yeah. Those have all moved into headless, right? So I'd say there's more to do, and there's more buy-in to that's needed. But that's why we're here, and we're here to promote. So
they were some pretty big brands. How do you think maybe smaller businesses might consider headless?
Yeah, I think it's just getting going with something small, starting out with a kind of unique, a kind of distinct capability, and building out from there. Like I say, getting the buy-in within the business. Yeah. I think instead of building a monolithic WordPress site, for example, why not build it headless? We're seeing build times, there or thereabout, equivalent. Oh, yeah. So, and also, like I say, having the kind of ubiquitous development languages that you can just leverage, it's a huge benefit. Yeah. It helps with the attraction and retention of staff. And if you think about it, it's an easier sell for a business if they already have in-house skills. So it's definitely a big bonus.
I was wondering that, do you see the skill base or influencing open source generally? Like, do you think because you have such a large ecosystem in WordPress that you're able to move faster when you use a headless WordPress site like Atlas?
I think so. There's definitely an argument to be made there. I mean, open source is just a massive part of what we do. There isn't a single project that we do that doesn't involve some kind of open source software. And we love that transparency and that kind of communal ecosystem that exists with open source. So for us, it's a major part of what we do.
So in 2020, Candyspace worked with Mazda in the UK to look at really increasing conversions through e-commerce. So can you talk me through about what was really interesting about that project and how it's ended out?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've worked with Mazda for quite some time now, and really what we've done there, this isn't just about building a site and getting it live. We all know that digital product is a living and breathing thing. So bringing something to market, and then really it's a mindset change if you think about it, from that to a test and learn mindset, where we're actually, instead of doing big bang releases, we're doing very incremental updates that look to move the needle, if you like, for those key things, be that finance registrations, or book a test drive, or contact a dealer, whatever those conversion points are. Yeah. But we worked to move the needle on those and had really good success on lots of them. We use tools like, obviously, Content Square and GA just to understand how the people acting within the funnel and how things were converting. Yeah. And really, I would say the success there was borne out the fact that we had a really great multidisciplinary team. So we had, obviously developers and QAs, but we had our experimentation team dropped in there, and our client services team, to really get into the heart of exactly what the goals of the business were. I mean, before we start writing a single line of code, we sit down and we look at their KPIs, and we build out a KPI matrix, and from there you can build out tracking, and you can start making hypotheses around what it is you seek to change. Yeah. So, that was a client that was very challenged by COVID, but we really, really helped them through that time, and I would say it's been a real success, and that culture of experimentation is now heavily ingrained in the business. Yeah,
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, I love to ask, kind of, what gets you up in the morning? Like, what technologies and trends are you really focused on that inspire you?
Apart from my kids waking me up in the morning.
Yes. Right.
I've just come back from Web Summit, for example, and that was fascinating. I mean, there are so many things going on in the world of, blockchain and the metaverse and NFTs, which, that's a whole nother topic. But I still think technology, what I'm seeing in technology is tech becoming an enabler for great experience and the things that people need. So rather than it being gimmicky or flashy, we're talking about things that can actually tangibly improve lives. Yeah. So I'm interested in, great front-end technologies, but also the SaaS products that sit behind them and do all the heavy lifting in terms of, understanding personalization and recommendations and content editing, but us being able to deliver great customer experience. We're dealing with, Gen Z, who are incredibly sophisticated around their understanding of technology and their understanding of what they want from brands. So this is what we're up against. So we have to continually evolve and continually improve. That's what excites me.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Adam. That was Adam Davey, Director of Technology at Candyspace. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.